Welcome everybody to the Four Brothers Podcast. I'm Walt, got our brother Andrew,
Happy New Year, mofos.
Chuck,
Happy New Year.
and our brother Alex.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Who has something to say about atheists and axis of evil. I don't know what.
Hitler was a Christian.
Actually, I just wanted to bring up, last time Walter started the story about Don King. So we're going to let him continue on that. Hopefully he goes in to tell us about how the Blue Blazer got Don King over.
Oh, man. Okay.
I want to know why Michael Jackson had to be the one to light his hair on fire and not Don King. The world would be a better place.
Oh, wow.
What?
Don King and his
That might
his
have
hair.
been a little racist. I'm not
Wait.
sure.
Yeah.
Why?
I'm
Have
not
you
sure
seen
that-
Don King's head?
No, but
Wait,
There's
know,
nothing
here's-
with big black. That head's ugly.
here's the thing about Don King
Andy's-
is his hair. He tried to tell everybody it was natural, but what it turns out is the reason he did his hair like that, the truth be told, it came out because he wanted it to look like a crown. And if you look at it, it is with those spikes. That's really why he does his hair like that.
Yeah.
Because he believes it looks like a crown, Don King. But here's the thing about Don King. There's a movie about him based on the true events of his life, and it's called Only in America, I think is what it's called. And basically, here's what Don King did. He was basically a con man, so to speak. You know, he was a hustler, and he had gone to jail for it was murder or, you know, it's something to do with a murder. Okay, so he goes to jail. He comes out. He's got like a relative or a friend who knows Muhammad Ali. What he does is he hooks up with this this charity, and he gets them to have Muhammad Ali come out. So with that, he becomes connected with Muhammad Ali, and what he does is he goes into this thing where he wants to promote a fight, and he goes into it as, I want to promote an all-black fight. So the biggest thing ever. So he goes in and he tries to get George Foreman and he tries to get Muhammad Ali. And what he does is he guarantees each of them $1 million. Nobody had ever gotten $1 million before. Okay. So what he does is he gets Muhammad Ali to kind of say yes, but not 100%. He goes to George Foreman, and by offering him $1 million, he gets George Foreman to sign a contract that was a blank piece of paper. He said, don't worry about it, I'll fill it out later. And he gets him in the bathroom, and he gets George Foreman to sign it, and he says, this is a blank piece of paper. He says, don't worry, we'll fill it in later. And then he goes to Muhammad Ali with the $1 million thing. George Foreman has already signed, gets him to sign. So basically it's a con, but he's making it really happen. So then he goes to Africa, to the leader, or actually he's the Rumble in the Jungle. Was it Africa or was it Zimbabwe?
No idea.
It was
I think
one
it
of the
was
two.
Zimbabwe.
So he gets the leader of this country to put up all the money. Then he gets the white guy, Bob Abrams, I believe his name is, that was doing the at the time it wasn't pay-per-view, it was called
Closed circuit.
closed circuit TV. And he starts talking trash on the guy because he's white and stuff. Muhammad Ali steps in and says, don't you ever think in your life that you can speak to him like that. You're lucky that you're even involved in this. And that's how Don King started. So he was the first one to promote an all-black fight and get them the money that they deserved, but it was all kind of a work. And so backwards way, he came in the door where he didn't belong and made this big fight and this huge thing. And his career went on from then, and that's how he got his name and started in the fight business. He was basically all hype with nothing behind it and made something out of nothing. So basically a guy that had been in jail for murder, had no background, wasn't really part of the charity, that had a friend who knew Muhammad Ali, became this big thing.
Right.
And to know him nowadays, you would never think that's his history. So I would look it up. It was a great movie called Only in America, and that's where they also talk about it. And one of the scenes in the movie that really stood out to me, and you know when something's based on a movie, you don't know how true it is, but he's in the bathroom with George Foreman when he gets him to sign the contract, and George Foreman's washing his hands, and he goes, "Hey, Don, aren't you going to wash your hands?" He goes, "No, I wash my hands before I touch my dick." So that just always stood out to me. So anyway, that was my big Don King story. Moving on from there, where do you guys want to go? New Year's resolutions?
Yeah, since this is a New Year's episode, I figure we kind of talk about some of our favorite things from this year, whether it be wrestling, movies, stuff like that, and then we'll end it out with resolutions.
Well, I'll tell you a funny thing for me this year. I don't know how in a one calendar year thing you could go from people making jokes about how fat you are to people making jokes about how skinny you are. But it happened to me. So it is humanly possible, I guess. But
Your neck looks like a vagina, but
You
But
have
on the-
become little Walter.
yeah, I know. I really shrunk down. But
at least
Andrew
people
in
have.
his extra medium shirts.
Yeah, exactly. At least people.
Well,
I know. I'm the opposite.
I-
I went from being the guy who they used to make fun of for being too skinny to being the pregnant man.
True that. And Chuck,
Yeah, I screwed up this year. Yeah, I gained a lot of weight from being unemployed. I did the exact opposite too.
So Chuck's New Year's
But-
resolutions were to get a job and get a girlfriend. How'd they work out?
what was your resolution, Andrew?
Sadly, it was to start going to the gym more and become an athlete and, you get athletic again. But the real issue is the way things are. I just work too much. Sadly, when I get home at 8 o'clock, I don't want to stop at the gym on my way home. That's, and that's life. And I know, and don't get me wrong, I could joke about Chuck all I want, but Chuck spends 9 to 5 every day looking for a job. So it's not like he has all this extra time on his hands. So I understand, things are just tough nowadays.
Yeah, and I don't think, Chuck, I don't think you're really that big. I think just like we did before, you could lose the weight in a matter of, a couple months once you get back into it. But
Notice how he doesn't say that to me.
Well, yeah,
I don't think you're that big yourself. But I mean, me and Chuck went on this workout thing together a few years back. 2009?
2008. Well, the thing was, don't you remember our real motivation was going to the DiBiase workout camp at EWF?
Yeah.
Well, and see, Chuck carries his weight different. So when
Yeah.
he gains weight, it's an all-over thing. Me and Andy both have the same problem. When we
It's
gain
all
weight,
in the stomach. It's
yeah.
love handles.
Well, no,
it's the gut, yeah.
that's how mine is. I mean, it really is all my my stomach. But now I'm just kind of wasting away. And the thing is, I don't get into the gym enough, But I lost weight. Now I got to get back in the gym to tighten everything up.
Yeah, the hard part is
Well,
you have to spend at
that's
least
what-
an hour there. If you can't go... People, they talk about the 15-minute workout, the 5-minute abs. It's bullshit. Working out for 5 minutes is not
Right.
going to make you lose any weight.
Well,
No,
I know.
absolutely true.
One of the best things was because when we started working out, we would work out and, we wouldn't see any definition. We first lost weight. But what really helped us was, we got a trainer.
Yeah.
He knew what he was doing. He was like, eat this, do this.
Well, and
You're not really working your core.
And
The
my guess
core
is
thing-
that every time you were going to give up, he was right there to tell you not to.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
one
yeah, that's
day
true too. But like he was saying when he was telling us about our core.
Yeah, the core, no, you don't think about that. You don't think about, planks and stuff.
Right.
Planks are really important and stuff like that because they work out your entire body.
Yeah, and I had gotten to a point where I could plank and have somebody sit on my back and not have an issue. And Chuck was pretty much there too. Because we would do planks, side planks, and basically what a plank is you're in the push-up position but on your elbows, and you have to hold it for a few minutes.
Oh yeah,
And what happens is your abs on the side, and it helps your whole body. You can jump higher.
And you could
can
feel
do
the
more.
burn. That's the
Yeah.
thing. If you haven't done that before, or you haven't done that in a while, when you do it, you feel this just burn that just like, I want to say it's a good burn, but I don't believe there is a good burn. I hear people say that all the time. It's like, when I used to swim, I remember that last event that I did in 2008. I swear to God, I mean, after swimming for a half hour in the ocean, you get out and the first thing you do is you puke everywhere. And people are like, I love that feeling. I absolutely hate it. It was the weeks afterwards where I realized that I'd lost 30 pounds and I could climb a wall, jump a fence, I could do anything, and it's like, that's the feeling. I mean, that's the good feeling, but I can't believe it when people go, oh, it's a good burn, it's a good burn. I'm like, no, there's no such thing as a good burn. You deal with the pain to get to...
The hard part for me with the trainer is, see, I don't throw up. I just feel the pain, and the pain gets worse. So the trainer would think that I needed to do more. So he would push me beyond my physical limits, and I would have to basically tell him because I don't throw up from it. So it was very hard. But see, for me, since I had my gallbladder out this year, and my hernia surgery and everything, it's been kind of a balance of medications and vitamins and stuff. So to me, I need to get more sun. I need to get in the gym and do more workouts, because I mean, I've got solid arms. My stomach, my muscle underneath is very solid, but I've got a lot of just lazy kind of
Gelatinous tissue.
Exactly. Well, and I wanted to say something else, though, because the thing that I remember, like that time that I threw up, the thing that was nice was I swam in the ocean. It was a race, right? But once you're out there, you don't have a choice. You either swim or drown.
Yeah.
So it's like, that was the hardest workout I've ever had, because once I was out there, I had to swim back, whether I wanted to or not.
Yeah. What was hard for me was my last 5K. I was very disappointed because I did at Cal State San Bernardino, and coming around, I kind of stopped and walked a little bit, and I didn't realize I was at the last leg of it, because to me a 5K just seemed so much more than what it was, and I was doing really well, and my time could have been that much better had I not stepped and realized how close I was, because I came around the corner and it was the last leg.
No, I know
so
that
I was kind of
feeling,
disappointed in myself on that one. But I mean, I did have a good time, but man, it could have been so much better.
Yeah, and I think it's funny because I have a similar story. I remember when I was, swimming competitively, and I was, I was on a race, and I thought this other guy had lapped me. And I was neck and neck with him, and I'm going, well, screw it, I don't need to keep up with him. And everybody's cheering for me. I didn't know why. And they said, what were you doing? You were going slow. You could have passed that guy. You would have beat him. It was my final lap. And I thought I had another lap. I thought he was going to win. And I could have beat that guy, and I was so pissed off at myself when I realized what I did.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, man.
Hey, since it is the new year, talk about some year in review stuff. Well, they just had the Slammies not too long ago.
Absolutely ridiculous. I hated the whole thing.
Daniel Bryant, Superstar of the Year. Any
Well, I mean,
feelings on that?
it's pretty much what I predicted when we had talked about it before, and Chuck thought they were burying him, and I was saying that was just an angle to get him over.
It
And
is.
clearly
No,
it
I
got him
didn't-
over.
It
No,
is and
that's
it
not
isn't,
what I was
because
trying to say. I was saying the world title.
Oh, I started the
I think-
smirk
I think the
conversation
world
again,
title
didn't
should always
yeah, we could just
have
talk
a
like
champion.
this, and we'll get picked up
You
while
know
they're
what I
talking.
mean?
No, but when we're talking
About something
specifically
else.
about Daniel Bryan, you
But
had
Daniel
made the
Bryan,
comment that you thought they
number
were
one
burying him.
PWI 500
No, what I'm
next
saying-
year. Number one.
What I was trying to say is about Daniel Bryan is it's kind of like a Benoit situation. Benoit was the hottest thing after he won the title. And
He wasn't.
it seemed...
Benoit never had that kind of pop with the fans.
He never
No,
did.
but what
I
I'm
never thought he
saying
did.
is...
He
to
may have
me,
had that
with-
push from the back,
Yeah, I was more
No,
pissed
but-
off that they took the
but
title
he
away
never
from him before he had a
had
chance to catch
the
on.
fan pop.
I know, but what
He
I'm
didn't even
saying
hold the belt
is,
as long as the Big
like-
Show did. You know what I mean?
like, when Benoit won the title...
It was
You
kind
know,
of wasted
they-
on him because he didn't have the fan pop.
It's
No,
true.
I mean
No,
he did.
he
His
did.
win was his win was phenomenal. I would say his win was on the level of Daniel Bryan, but he didn't have the lasting impact.
Yeah,
Because
that's-
WrestleMania 20, there's no way that you can say that he wasn't over with the fans and their reaction to his win.
Yeah, but to me, like the Benoit thing, they had him beat Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and I remember when he was champion, he faced Kane, and he's the only one that ever actually made Kane tap out, I think. I may be wrong.
Well, but here's the thing. I would say a better...
That's what I thought was awesome. But
yeah,
he was over.
I would say
in a lot
better
of ways.
comparison would be John Cena. Because I think when John Cena won the title the first time, Daniel Bryan was right on par with him. This next time he wins the title, I think Daniel Bryan will be as big as John Cena was the first time he won.
No,
But
and I agree.
Provided it happens within the next year.
And I honestly thought, and Alex, you know this because you're a big Cena fan, I thought in the beginning they jumped him too soon. I liked his U.S. title win. I loved that freaking belt. Aside from the Magnum TA U.S. title belt, that was my favorite one, was that spinner. When they jumped him into the world title picture so quick and had him win, I thought they went too fast. I mean, I pretty much stand corrected because of what's transpired since then. But I thought at that time it was too soon.
Right.
And then to do another spinner belt, and I thought that belt was horrid. I hated
Well, and
that belt.
the problem with two
wait.
brands is that they had to have two champions. So they had to bring somebody up because Eddie Guerrero had died.
Well, wait. This isn't a past show. Let's just try to focus on 2013. What is the biggest impact moment in wrestling for the year for you?
In wrestling,
The
I don't.
biggest impact.
The problem is this was a pretty
good
bad
match. It could be a match. It could be a moment, promo, anything.
year. When Paul Heyman turned into the Ultimate Warrior, when the volcano erupted. I mean, he was going nuts, man. He was doing it just like the Ultimate Warrior used to do. And the volcano erupts, and the warriors come from the sky, and they... and he's just going freaking out, man. I couldn't believe it.
I don't see that really had an impact in overall wrestling at all.
Yeah,
I mean, to me, I would say, because even building up to Cena versus Daniel Bryan still didn't fully have the fan pop, and his win over John Cena just pushed him over the edge and kind of brought in the Daniel Bryan era.
Well, you know what sucked about that, in all honesty? The thing that sucked about it was he was injured, and they let Daniel Bryan win and brought Cena right back and gave him a title. Which I thought sullied it. I don't think a lot of fans caught on to that, but to me, that kind of sucked because I thought Daniel Bryan deserved what had happened. Like you said, he beat Cena, and I think they should have just gone with that. But I think it kind of sucked that they almost made it tainted. But
Yeah,
I don't know if
agree.
anybody's noticed this, but I think when Cena wins the belt, I think he turns and doesn't let Daniel Bryan beat him right away. I honestly believe they're going to do something.
I don't know. I mean,
with-
because you know
with
that
Cena.
there's always that superstar that never turns.
No,
like
but
like Sting, you know.
but it seems
and
like
I think
that's-
Cena's going to be that guy who's never going to turn. I think you're going to expect it, and it's never going to happen.
No, I think that's why it's going to happen because I think people don't see the underlying the Cena standing with Triple H, him saying he's going to give Daniel Bryan a fair shake, and Daniel Bryan saying, "I trust Cena, and I know he's going to give me that fair title shot." The underlying turn is there because I've always been good at seeing wrestling plots, and I think it would be the most dramatic thing that has happened in wrestling in years because there's nothing that's big right now.
Yeah.
I think
Or
Cena-
Daniel Bryan turns rule breaker again.
No, I really
You know?
see it. No, because he's so big, he's bigger than Cena. And I
Well-
think Cena turning will bring Cena new fans and make things more the way they
Now,
they should be.
let me ask you a question along these lines.
but-
2014 is coming up. Who do you think is going to win the Royal Rumble?
Brian.
You think it'll be Daniel Bryan?
I think it could be Daniel Bryan, and I think it'll be Daniel Bryan versus Cena. But it's kind of weird because they could do Daniel Bryan Cena without the Royal Rumble, but I see Cena winning it. The I forget what they call themselves, the McMahon Helmsley era.
Some nonsense.
Whatever they call themselves, the
Authority.
The Authority. I see them not giving Daniel Bryan that shot. Him winning the Royal Rumble. So the big thing is there. He goes after Cena, and what happens is Cena turns. That's kind of my prediction for the way that it's set up right now. Now, I'm almost going to go out on a limb and predict that it's Sting Undertaker this WrestleMania.
You think so?
Because TNA is going under quickly.
But there's also the Hogan thing too. Hogan's going to be at WrestleMania if he's done with TNA.
Yeah, no, Hogan will be back, but he can't really wrestle.
Well, and Vince is
But the
vindictive.
thing is,
Vince and Hogan,
It's kind of like
they're not on good terms.
No, but
But-
the thing is, Vince will always
Vin-
take him back because of his name.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Hogan
Vince doesn't
doesn't-
care about good terms. Vince cares about whether or not
Yeah,
he can
Vince-
make money.
Vince-
he will work with you
Vince-
if he can make money.
Vince would not bring back Macho Man to the grave.
what do you? Well,
Macho
that's
Man
the thing.
died without ever
but,
Well,
making
no,
up with
but-
Vince.
no,
but
but
Macho
there's
Man-
this rumor. There's people who say he was in contract negotiations during the Attitude Era.
No, and here's the thing. It was a
And-
big part Macho Man because Vince did bring him back in the action figure thing, and in the promos for the action figures, they had signed the deal. So Macho Man really would have been back, and I believe he would have been in the Hall of Fame. The reason he's not now is because his brother's being a douche and says the only way they'll let Macho Man in the Hall of Fame is if
He gets in.
he inducts the whole family. Because Lanny Poffo knows he's not a Hall of Famer, but he wants to be in the Hall of Fame. And it's arguable if the father, Angelo Poffo, should be in the Hall of Fame.
It is
He
arguable.
was one of those guys that was kind of like, yeah, you could make the argument because he's Macho Man's father, but did he stand out?
Well, he was a wrestler like
Well,
100 years ago, so he should be
Right.
in the Hall of Fame.
I didn't know he was a
Well,
pro
he's
wrestler
not a-
until they brought up the fact that Macho Man's father was a wrestler.
Right.
You know what I'm
But-
saying?
right, and if
it's
you-
not like Curtis Axel where you're like, that's Mr. Perfect's son. It was more of, this is Macho Man who's a superstar. Did you know his dad wrestled at one point? Well, no, I
Right.
didn't.
It was kinda
Now
like-
I do.
Bob
look,
Orton's
like-
dad.
I guarantee you, if you look, you can find a video somewhere online of Angelo Poffo wrestling a bear.
Well, they're
Alrighty then.
Well, I'm going to tell you guys a funny story, not to break it up, but it's just so funny. Okay, they tell Roddy Piper he has this big match up in I think it was Portland, and he did so great. They invited him back, and they said, "Hey, you want to come back next month and wrestle the bear?" Sure, I'll do it. So they do all the promotion and everything. And Piper shows up and he says, "Well, where's this guy, the bear? I want to, talk about the match." "No, it's literally a bear. But don't worry." And Piper's like, no, I'm not wrestling a bear. "No, you agreed to wrestle the bear." And they're like, "Listen, he's trained to wrestle with humans. He won't hurt you, this and that." So, okay, he gets ready and he goes, "All right, I guess I'll do it, because all these other guys have wrestled the bear." And so the trainer walks up to Piper, pats him on his ass and says, "Good luck, go for it." So let me do that again. Still didn't do it right. Pats him on his ass. That wasn't a good clap, but anyway. Pats him on his ass, sends him out there. The bear attacks Piper, goes after him, rips his trunks off, and Piper has to run to the back naked. Says, "What the heck happened?" "Oh, nobody told you? The first time when you wrestle the bear, the trainer rubs honey on your ass, and the bear goes after it." And that's what happened to Piper. The trainer, when he had smacked him on the ass, put honey on his ass. So the bear went after it and ripped off his trunks. So that's one of the best Piper stories ever. And that was told by Rodney
Now, wait,
Piper.
because I've got another Piper story that I want to tell
we
you
gotta
guys
get back
about.
to 2013, Doug. This is supposed to be year in review.
All right, I'll make mine quick then, because this is I got to get this out there.
Well, that's what you tell Laura all
So
the time.
I bought this DVD from the
Why do I
bin.
think when he says I'll make this quick, it's about to be the longest story we've heard?
Probably no, it's very quick.
Well, next to his movie.
So I bought this DVD from the bargain bin at Fry's Electronics. It was like 99 cents, and it's some wrestling federation I've never heard of. And Piper's in the ring doing like a Piper's Pit thing, but interviewing himself. And he's telling the story about, he said he's like 15 or 16 years old getting dressed, and he's butt naked, and he turns around, and there's Lord Alfred Hayes staring at him naked.
Oh, yeah, I've heard this story.
And he's like, what the fuck are you doing? And he can't understand why Lord Alfred Hayes is watching him.
All right, 2013.
That's it.
Yeah,
Match
I've
of the
heard this
year
Uh-huh.
was won by Cena Rock. Now, it was a decent match, but I mean, really, to me, it seemed more like a let's see who could do their finisher the most times in one match.
No, here is the
So
here's
I
the
don't
worst
know that
part
it
about
really
it. They ended it
applies.
wrong because they were all falsies, false endings for the finishers. They go for the finisher, don't get it. Go for the finisher, don't get it. And it's going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Well, and remember
So
that gave photographers a lot of still shots
no, but
to put in PWI and stuff too.
no, but remember this. The year before, Cena had messed up, and he went for the Rock's move, and the Rock stood up and got him for the win. Here's how it should have ended. When Cena, the Rock went for his move, Cena got him and did the attitude adjustment, and it didn't work. And the whole thing had been to get your finisher. When it came down to it the very last time, the Rock should have gone for it. Cena got the attitude adjustment for the win. Didn't work, and how did he beat him?
With the attitude
Fist
adjustment.
drop. I don't know.
He did not beat him with the attitude adjustment.
Did Jerry Lawler's finishing move with the fist drop?
It was something like that. It was so bad I don't remember what it was, but they didn't let him win with the attitude adjustment.
Well, but see, that's...
But The Rock came running at him at the very end, and instead of letting him do the attitude adjustment the last time and win, it got blocked, and Cena won with something else.
Small package.
No, well, but see, that's the problem. I mean, and what's funny is, I guarantee you that wasn't what won the most votes. WWE picked that one, and they said, this is the one we're going to use. We're going to say this is the match of the year. The whole thing's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
it's
to me. I mean,
kind of hard to
but-
know at WWE because a lot of it is a work.
But ask yourself this. What was match of the year? I mean, this has been a horrible year in wrestling.
You know, I honestly, if I had to pick a match of the year or a series of matches, I would say Punk Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
I could see that, but did they even have a real feud? I mean,
No, but they had a series of... No, here's the thing. They wrestled over and over and over again.
Yeah, no, I know.
As champion versus champion, but they did it on the respect level. It wasn't good guy, bad guy. That's why I think a lot of people don't realize that. It
no, and they
wasn't-
were great technical matches because they're both great technical wrestlers. I
right,
mean,
and they knew each other from Ring of Honor. They've wrestled each other many, many times.
Let me ask you this. You
But
could ask yourself,
there's
what was
also
the...
been, you know, the best new group is definitely the Shield. The Shield, I actually really like the Shield sometimes.
They're
and I'm
kind
the
of growing
opposite,
into
but-
it, but I didn't
Daniel-
like the Shield. The Shield didn't make sense. And the
Daniel-
gimmick of the Shield still doesn't make sense, but they are very good.
Well, let me
Daniel
ask you...
Bryan, when he faces the Shield, like, those matches were really good to me. Like, those made me want to watch them again.
And does the Shield work for Paul Heyman?
No, who knows who they work
That-
for? That's
well, that was the thing. They were setting it up for who do they work for.
Because
But now they work apparently for the Authority.
all they
Who they were
did was
against.
try and help.
I always
I
thought
remember
they
they came
were...
out attacking
try
John
and help
Cena.
CM
Yeah.
Punk.
No, they
But
come
then,
out with
when
the
Punk left Heyman, they
right
started attacking Punk,
right before that
but they never
attacked-
helped Heyman. So did they work for
No,
Heyman?
and
Did
before that
not?
they would attack. Remember how they came in? They would attack Punk's
Yeah, they always
Opponents.
saved Punk when he was with Heyman. As soon as he left Heyman,
but
they
now when
started
he-
attacking Punk.
Yeah.
But now
So they
anytime
were
anything
making it
happens
seem
with
like
the Authority, they come out.
Heyman was going to step in with
It all makes no
the
sense.
Shield,
But
but
It's
then he didn't.
it's the worst storyline.
No, and
then
that's my point.
that
But, I
branches
mean,
off
now,
to-
now the three of them really do stand out in my mind as good wrestlers once they break apart. But why the Rock's nephew, the Usos' cousin is in it is just bizarre.
Yeah, no, it makes
Roman Reigns.
Yeah, it makes no sense to me. But the other thing I wanted to throw
So-
out there was,
so-
if we don't have a match of the year, right? Because there weren't any matches worthy of match of the year. What's the feud of the year? Did we have any good feuds
But-
this year,
but you
or did they
can-
all just fizzle?
No, I,
You know,
I
'cause
really
they started-
think that the
there-
great matches were
there
Daniel
are
Bryan
matches
versus CM
that-
Punk.
And there are matches that totally aren't brought up
Goldust
that really should be.
And Cody. Goldust,
Yeah,
and
Goldust
Cody
and Cody.
had some good matches.
But another
Yeah.
match that stands out to me, and it was just a regular Raw match, not even a main event, that stands out as one of the best matches of the year, was the first Orton versus RVD match.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
a good match, but another good
Yeah,
match
It was an
uh,
amazing match.
Yeah, but then RVD obviously wasn't there for the long run. He was only back temporarily.
But that doesn't
You know?
mean you can't have match of the year because you didn't work there.
But
But he never
I
had a
was glad
feud. He
to
never
see
had a
that one.
storyline.
No, but I'll tell you why, because Van Dam was so horrible in TNA. And like Van Dam said when he came back, he said what really got to him was people would come up to him, he'd been in TNA for years, and they'd said, oh, when are you going to come back to wrestling?
Yeah.
People didn't realize. But the other match that was good was Goldust. His first match back was against
Randy Orton.
Randy Orton.
Yeah,
and that was a fantastic match.
Yeah.
But if you look at tag team of the year, I would say it's one of two groups, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you guys could think of another one, but I would say Goldust and Cody Rhodes, or The Shield as tag team of the year.
Kane and Daniel Bryan were still a tag team this year. I mean,
Sort of, but not really. And I don't think they were a great tag team. I don't like teams that are just thrown together, and that's kind of my problem with The Shield too.
I
Is
think
when
it
you
was-
just throw guys together.
right. Well, the Shield has
I don't know
no.
that they were a great tag team, but I think they were a great storyline.
But
Yeah,
there's
they're-
no charisma.
they're
though.
kinda-
There's no
Build the
charisma at all
career
between them.
of
They don't.
Daniel Bryan.
Right,
Yeah,
I
it's
think it
not
was a
like
good storyline,
DX.
but I
It
think it
seemed
was
like
more
they
of a 2012 storyline.
Yeah.
I don't think of it as a 2013 storyline. And another team that's starting to step up, and the storyline is weird, is the Wyatts. Now, the Wyatts are trying to get Daniel Bryan to join, which totally kills the Daniel Bryan storyline. But then the Shield is attacking Daniel Bryan because of what I consider the real storyline, which is him wanting to be the world champion and the Authority stopping him.
Right. Exactly.
And
So
I think-
that's all.
I think
It's
they're
all
just trying to
confusing.
keep Daniel Bryan busy till the Rumble.
Well, and why did the Wyatt family give up on Kane, but now he's corporate?
Exactly.
I understand you're kind of moving his character along to make him corporate,
What-
but why did the Wyatt family just bury him and that's done?
Agreed.
Well, but I
Agreed.
don't.
Well, and where's the
Well,
Undertaker?
what-
The Shield took out the Undertaker.
Well, the
one of
Undertaker
the
will be
rumors
back,
is-
but he always
but-
does this.
One of
You
the
know.
rumors was, and I don't understand the Kane thing if this is true, was it was going to be Brothers of Destruction versus the Shield at WrestleMania.
Well,
That's why they had him take out. Oh, SummerSlam. That's what it
SummerSlam.
was.
That's what
And-
what I had kind of heard too, but
Sure, and that would have made sense, but they didn't.
right. But the
tore
Undertaker,
that
I mean,
apart.
his matches are basically they give him a little bit of intro space and then WrestleMania, so he may wrestle a couple of matches a year.
Yeah.
But he puts everything into WrestleMania, and I honestly believe if they can work it out, it'll be Sting Undertaker, and I think that's the only thing that's left.
But
If they do Undertaker Brock Lesnar, it could be built into a cool thing, but it's been done before.
Yeah. it has.
Sting Undertaker, Sting's first match in WWE against arguably when he became the Crow, arguably his flip side would be an awesome match.
I know, but the problem Sting has is, okay, he's going to come here for one match, and he doesn't
Lose
know if they know how to do anything after that.
No, he
With
does. His problem
And
is
that's
he
what
doesn't
appears.
want to do that. He doesn't want to be in a long-term storyline being on the road. That's what he likes about TNA. In his
Yeah.
interview, he said that's why ultimately it didn't
Well,
work out.
yeah,
where,
he
where the
gets the-
opposite, what you're saying, is Stone Cold's problem. Stone Cold says he doesn't want to come back and wrestle Hogan in a gimmick match and just have that. He wants, to him, for it to work, it would have to be long-term, but he can't handle the long-term either.
Right. No, yeah, and all that's reasonable. I mean, the whole thing makes sense, and the biggest thing about Sting that I heard him say was he gets to go home.
Right.
He gets to stay in his home. He doesn't have to stay in hotel rooms.
But could
You know, not all
could
that
you
often.
imagine Sting and Undertaker? It's the only time that you would go, could the Undertaker lose? I mean, think about it. It's the only thing left where you would honestly go, could the Undertaker lose this match? Because it's Sting coming in. Are they going to give it to Sting? Because Undertaker's had so many, you know. But I could see it almost coming down to a double down kind of thing where it's almost a tie where the Undertaker just barely beats him.
Yeah, that's
You know?
tough. I mean, I think if you ask me, I think Undertaker would win anyways.
No, I think he would win, but I think it would come down to where you think Sting's going to win and Undertaker barely pulls it off. Just something out of the blue happens for him to win. It wouldn't be like he stops and he does his thing and he does his pile driver and wins like he did against Shawn and
Yeah.
Hunter.
I mean, and it's so hard to say with that because they get so unpredictable with these things. I mean, the WWE, and they really do, look at what people think is going to happen, and they try to put a fork in it, you know, or try to put a wrench in it.
Right. If
They don't want
any
you to-
news comes out, then they basically nix the idea.
Yeah.
But I mean, with TNA being sold right now,
Well, I
and
don't even
Sting
know if they're
hasn't
being
really been out
sold.
to- No, it is. It's up for sale.
Is it?
Well,
Because
they
I
You
don't.
didn't know that? What's his name? Danny Corrigan, the guy from what's the name of that?
Smashing Pumpkins. or
Smashing
something?
Pumpkins.
Billy.
Yeah.
Billy Corgan.
Billy Corrigan.
Well,
yeah.
but I hear the opposite because I heard Dixie Carter's sister was saying, "Oh, it's not really for sale. That's a lie."
Well, I don't understand why, if she's putting it up for sale, why would she put herself
Well, she's trying.
out
She's
there
trying to save it.
in the front?
No, but you have to understand.
Yeah,
it's
it's
not.
on
It's
camera.
not Dixie putting it up for sale. It's the parent company. What's it called? King Panda or
I don't even know.
whatever the enterprise is. It's kind of like when WCW was being sold. It wasn't Eric Bischoff selling it. It was Turner, or actually at the time, what was it? AOL Time Warner.
Yeah, but let me ask you something. If they're selling it, okay, it doesn't make sense to go the route that they're going. They don't have monthly pay-per-views anymore.
No, it does
You know-
because that's what's
Yeah, but they're losing.
Here's
because,
what Eric Bischoff came up with, and this is what he tried to do in WCW. Take us off the road a little bit, and don't spend the money on this stuff to save money.
Yeah, but they literally just took themselves on the road.
Right, and it's
They did the
they're just
opposite.
making bad decisions.
Right.
So if they change that, and the Dixie thing is just a ripoff of the old WWE stuff. But we're down to about a minute and a half. So New Year's resolution, go Alex.
You got me. Keep recording.
Yeah, well, I'll say for me, it's to get back into shape, and possibly even one of my goals is to wrestle one match on my overall bucket list.
Well, honestly, I'd love to make a resolution, but I'm completely changing my life upside down come January 1st. So to even try and look ahead and say this is what I want to do, I don't even know what's going to happen.
I did hear that you're going to start going to church.
Negative.
Okay, Chuck, what's your New Year's resolution?
Well, you know, get a job, get a not crazy girl, you know, lose the weight, and you know, I'm so young and I get so wrestle. I really do want to, you know, go back to the School of Hard Knocks. You know, it was some of the funnest times back then when we used to do it.
Yeah, me and Chuck used to do it together, and I can actually do the back roll now. I teach people how to do the back roll, which is weird because I had trouble with the back roll, and you guys don't understand. Chuck gets it, because what you do is you kind of fall backwards like you're sitting down, and you push off your heels and roll back up. And we had the hardest time with it, both of us.
Yeah.
and now I can do it like it's nothing. I mean, it's not like I can come up to my feet, but I can do the back roll and teach people how to do
That's
it.
cool.
So,
That's awesome.
but what's your New Year's resolution?
I don't know. I mean, I guess I got a couple. The first thing is to get into the School of Hard Knocks a couple times. Maybe do a couple classes there with you guys. I'd love to do that. That would be something to be awesome. I really want to get back into swimming. I want to swim. I want to swim a half mile in the ocean. Do an event this year. That was my resolution last year, and I didn't find time. So my other resolution would be to find time. I don't know if you guys know this, but I work almost every day. I put in a lot of.
Well, that's me. I haven't had more than one day off since I've been at Sears, which has been 3 months.
Yeah, well, I've been on mandatory overtime since October 2012, so
Well, no, yeah.
we're all working crazy
Oh,
hours.
man.
And
No,
you know what? Probably all three of us together don't put in as many hours a week as Danny by himself.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know. Oh, I love that about Danny.
But another resolution for me would get back into running. I'm going to do at least a 5K, and I would like to get up to, a 10K half marathon. I figure if I'm going to do a 10K, might as well do a half marathon, because a 10K is 6.5, and a half marathon is...
Now here's an idea for you, and I don't know if you'd be up for this, but there's several events in the summer. They do either the Zoot Playa del Run, or they do the Pacific Open Water Challenge, and you could do teams. You could actually do one guy does a swim and another guy does a run.
Well, me and you have talked about this before. I mean, that would be really cool to do. And the triathlon up here at Cal State San Bernardino is pretty awesome. I would love to do the run part. If we had somebody that was a bicyclist and we could do it like you do the swim,
Right.
I do the run, and somebody else do the bike, that would be ultimately awesome if one of you two would want to do the bike part.
Alex is
I have a bike. I ride.
Well, yeah.
Now, the thing I got to tell you, the bike ride on these...
But no,
so-
but it's like, I've got a singlet. Doesn't mean that I'm in the Olympics. You see
But
what I'm
wait, but I got to say this though, because the swim, they'll do a 1,000-meter swim and a 5K run, or when it's a triathlon, it's a 3.5K, and then the bike ride is like 26 miles.
Yeah. And that's my point.
It makes no sense. I mean, you could do it,
But
it's
here's
like,
what I'm
we'll
saying.
be waiting for you for hours.
Yeah, if you say, hey, I've been riding my bike, I can get miles in, I'm doing really good with it, that's one thing. But the funny part is when you play it back, you're like, well, I've got a bike. You know what I mean?
Let me
Chuck's
ask you
got
about
running
your bike.
shoes, but he's not going to do a 5K.
Did you find your bike hidden in a tool shed, and it's booger green?
What?
Are you
Demon
talking
Bum
about the
joke.
stolen bike from Demon Bum? I think that's
Rivera
what it was.
fessed up to that.
Yeah, Rivera did it.
But no, I bought my bike last year and I started
No, I know
riding.
you. Yeah.
But then with all the overtime and stuff,
Yeah.
I just couldn't find the time to ride, and with the hours I worked.
Well,
so I
look,
speaking of resolutions, that's something I had already planned on starting. The first when I transition into day shift is every day when I get home go ride.
Well, let's make this our resolution right now. By summertime, you're in shape, and you got to start reading on how to train, because training for those things is different, whether it be the running part, which
Right.
is what I learned the hard way, is you have to train a certain way to be able to do it. Let's do this. Let's do the triathlon, the Tin Man, which will be like somewhere between
Man, yeah.
between May and July.
Yeah, now, they may not do teams on that one, though.
No, they do.
They do?
Well, they did when I did it.
Okay.
So he'll do the swim. I'll do the run. You do the bike.
I feel bad for Chuck.
And Chuck, you can
Well, we can
be
even-
an athletic supporter.
Yeah, exactly. No, we can, look, I'm sure we can get someone else in on this with us. We might be able to do two teams.
Right.
So
no, we
we
could
can
probably
make-
do that. But I'm thinking if the three of us can do it, it's basically I would do the run, tag off to you for the swim, then you
Yeah.
tag off to him for the bike.
Now, there's something else I need to say though before we close this out. We're talking about New Year's resolutions.
Uh-oh.
Since Hostess has come back, you guys, I'm addicted to zingers.
Zingers are cool, but my favorite have always been ding dongs, and I haven't seen them anywhere.
Yeah.
But
Oh, I had
I'm going
some
to tell you
the other
guys, I was doing a wrestling show down in Whittier for the Mexican Independence Day, which is not Cinco de Mayo, believe it or not.
day. Yeah, no, Cinco de Mayo is the day that they won a battle in a war that they lost.
Yeah, so I was at the Mexican Independence Day, and I was the white guy, so I stood out, and it was at, you remember Lake and all those, where we used to go with Jerry Lee,
Oh yeah.
the Whittier Narrows? So it was there, and it was gigantic, and they had everything there. It was like a giant festival. And I kept walking my 5 Hour Energy, and I would grab a 5 Hour Energy. Finally, they were like, come on, dude. You're like the only white guy. We've seen you come by a whole bunch of times. We're not giving you anymore. But they were giving out Twinkies, because Twinkies had just come back. And I got a bunch of Twinkies, and I ate one. It's like, oh, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I remember why I don't eat Twinkies.
Yeah.
So, just to segue
loaded
from your
me.
hostess story.
Oh, no,
Well,
I can't
well,
believe it, dude. These
so
zingers,
think about-
they're just...
Yeah.
Oh.
No, go ahead.
Well, don't you remember a couple years ago when we went to the fair and I got a chocolate covered Twinkie that was frozen? That thing was just like one of the best things I've ever eaten.
insane.
But I don't eat Twinkies. That's the only time I think I've
Yeah,
eaten a Twinkie.
the
in, like,
Twinkie was the
20
small ones, and
years.
it didn't settle well when it went down.
Well, the cream filling in a Twinkie, the main ingredient is animal fat that's whipped
I believe that.
with sugar.
Yeah. No, you can taste
But-
it, yeah. No, I was going to
but
say...
what about, you know, I just love Zombieland. I just love the whole premise that Woody Harrelson just wants a damn Twinkie.
No, and I wish we would talk about this with Danny on the phone, because when they talk about those damn cupcakes, not the
No,
cupcakes, the snowballs.
Yeah, the pink ones.
That's me and Danny when we were kids. They were always cool. There was green ones. There was all kinds of different things, but the texture was so nasty.
Yeah, you couldn't...
You know,
no,
so
that's
when
exactly
Woody
right.
Harrelson said that, Diane starts laughing at me because that's me. You know, I'm all ding dongs. You try to give me a snowball? No.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly right. Yeah, no, I
So-
can't stand. So
Well,
my last New Year's resolution is to get the hell away from Hostess products. Those ding dongs, like, you know, this morning that's what I had for breakfast with my cup of coffee. I had 3 zingers sitting on the counter, and I'm like, a cup of coffee and a pack of zingers is my breakfast.
Well, see, we can explain your weight gain.
Yeah, there you go.
We can explain
Well, but I haven't been doing it
his
that much.
weight gain. I gain weight, and I can't explain why. I mean, I've literally at this point eat once a day, and it's probably just one hamburger.
Well, it's two things, and I'll tell you what it is. It's number one, the calories in what you eat, and number two, your metabolism is slowed down because of your age.
I mean, I'm sure the 3 monsters a day aren't helping, but food intake, I barely eat at this point.
Yeah. Now,
Because
here's the thing.
I
that
know
was-
I'm going to get diarrhea when I eat.
Here's the thing, and here's what I found out. Well, number one, this has helped me with the diarrhea. And honestly, up until about Thanksgiving, I was actually losing weight. But protein. I mean, I have a protein shake for breakfast. You know, I have a Cliff Bar. You know, about 2 hours later, I have a small lunch. I have a Cliff Bar in the afternoon, and then I have a sensible dinner.
Yeah, see, I don't.
You know,
need it.
I eat
don't
5
need
times
enough
a day.
Protein. That's my problem.
Sensible dinner.
But-
Isn't he the guy that eats the
Yeah.
pile of chicken and waffles?
Yeah.
No, hey. I'm not saying you do that every night. Look, I will do that once a month. So we got to close this out, everybody. The show's ending. Remember, this is our New Year's episode. We want to wish you all a Happy New Year.
Happy 2014, everybody.
All right, later, everybody.
Good day.
Did he say good gay?
Yes, I was talking Andy.
All right,
that's
everybody.
a
We'll
good-
see you on the next
Everybody said
episode.
something and we threw it to Chuck, and I'm waiting for this just awesome moment to happen.
By the way,
Good day.
one more thing. I'd like to take a
I
minute
like
to
that.
apologize to all the people we offended today, especially Don King.
my.
Yeah, especially Don King and what did you relate him to?
I said Michael
Michael
Jackson,
Jackson's
but
Head Ablaze.
he's dead, though, so you don't need to worry about him.
Oh.
Oh, dude, top news story of 2014. Friggin' doctor getting out of jail. Conrad Murray, first thing he says when he gets out of jail is, Michael Jackson trusted me enough to let me touch his penis.
What?
That's
I
it.
think we should have let the good day thing finish.
Yeah, Good Day was way better than that, dude.
All right, everybody. Have a good one.
Merry Christmas.